Welcome to the Leadership Spark podcast, where we equip you to be the great leader your people deserve. This is Corey, and today I want to look ahead a little bit. We're at the time of the year where you start to think about planning for the next year, or at least you should be. As a leader, you probably need to be pausing and reflecting and starting to think about what is the strategy, what is the focus for me personally, and what is the focus for my team as I head into the next year. And so it really doesn't matter if you are the senior leader in the organization sitting at the top of the organizational chart, or if you're a frontline manager or anywhere in between. There is this need to stop and pause and to plan if we want to hit our goals. And I assume that if you're listening to the Leadership Spark podcast, you are very interested in performing at the highest level that you can. So what I thought I would do is just share with you what I go through, the planning process that I go through, at least the big buckets that I am leaning into, or the big questions that I'm asking and trying to answer as I plan for another year, because just like you, I'm going through the same process. And so really there are three main components to strategic planning that I go through that I will encourage you to use. If you don't have your own model, I would encourage you to take this and use it and maximize it and make it better. But there are really three different components that I lean into, and they all really stack on top of one another. At the core is this idea of defining what problem do I need to solve in the next year? What are the problems that I need to solve? And how do I whittle that down to the number one problem that I, as the leader, need to solve? And it could be not just you solving it. It could be your team or your organization, your function, your business. What is the number one problem that your business needs to solve in the next 12 months? And going through the process of identifying that, which means you need to do something like a retrospective, a time where you'll come and you'll talk about what worked, what didn't work. What do I need to stop? What do I need to start? What do I need to continue? And you're asking yourselves these questions, hopefully consistently throughout the year, but you're using the learnings that you get from asking and answering those questions to help you really narrow in on the number one problem that you need to solve in the coming season, in the coming 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. And then from there, if you've identified the problem, you can start to define a plan on how you can solve the problem. So step one is, do you understand the problem to solve? Step two would be, how do you define the strategic focus? So what is the focus that you want to give your team or your organization that will keep them laser focused on the activities that will help you solve the problem that you've identified you need to solve over the next several months? And articulating that to your team consistently so that they understand, number one, understand what that focus is. But number two, which is even more important, they understand how they connect to it, and they understand how their role on your team or in your organization allows them to contribute to the problem being solved through this strategic focus. So problem to solve, strategic focus. And the third thing is what I call strategic bets. What are the strategic bets you need to make that if these bets pay off, then it's going to allow you to accelerate your ability to strategically move forward, whatever it is you're trying to move forward. And these are bets. These are not strategic guarantees. These are things that have a little bit of risk. But what are the areas on your team or the areas in your business that you are intentionally investing in, believing that if this comes true, or if we invest in this activity, or we hire this group of people, or we build this kind of product, or we change our processes in this way, that if we do those things, it will result in moving our strategic focus, our strategic plan forward in the coming several months. And so those are the things that I go through. I identify what is the problem to solve, what is our strategic focus, and what are our strategic bets that we need to align our budget, we need to align our initiatives, we need to align our work at the frontline level, all to these things in order to give ourselves a shot to pull off the strategy that we have over the next several months. And so hopefully that encourages you to, one, go think about it. Two, feel free to use that model as a go and do for your own strategic planning as you start to think about the next year, so that you can put yourself and your team in a position to be as successful as you possibly can over the next several months.